All right. Uh, Alan, nice to meet you. So let's start with a brief introduction. What's your background? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much, Rosario. My name is Alan Lerner. Uh, I've been trained in business management and did my master's in business and technology, both at Universidad de San Andrés in Argentina. My professional experience spans around 17 years in the consulting space. Developed my career at KPMG in South America and in North America, starting working in internal audit, risk, and compliance, doing a lot of process improvement analysis and documentation from a compliance perspective, and then moved to the management consulting space where I've led tremendous amount of different projects in different spaces, from process analysis and improvement to robotics process automation implementations, spanning through project management offices, leadership for technology and functional improvements, as well as finance transformation work through target operating model enhancements through shared service center implementations. I've also done a lot of change management from an HR transformation perspective and working a lot around workforce shaping. That means uh, understanding current org designs and trying to improve them to enhance efficiency. Um, my industry experience spans around multiple ones, but I would say that 50% plus of my clients have been financial services institutions. I've also worked with retail, public sector, technology, media, and telecoms. I've been in agribusiness. I worked a lot around oil and gas and energy. And recently, I started uh, a new job at Toptal, which is an elite freelancing platform that works with elite talent to sort out uh, projects for multiple verticals. I'm a director of management consulting there for small and medium businesses, and I've been doing talent management there for multiple clients from startups to Fortune 500 clients.
Thank you, Alan. And so you have extensive professional experience as a practitioner, consultancies, and helping companies do better in a way. How does this experience is related to teaching for you?
That's a great question, Rosario. Luckily for me, I had the opportunity to start teaching very young at age 22 as a teaching assistant in multiple universities in Argentina. I would say that as far as I've been teaching undergrad and graduate management courses, I had the opportunity to share and learn a lot from different audiences and groups of students. I do believe that management is definitely a discipline that can be handcrafted in any way, shape, or form that can be actually reimagined. Management should be considered a practical discipline that, as a good wine, as it matures, it becomes definitely more robust and even better to experience and to consume. So basically, I would love to say that I teach around experience, and I find that currently, as we are facing a lot of disruption from a business and technology perspective, it is really, really important to put those skills into practice just by questioning and being very mindful around the fact that new paradigms are here to stay. So basically, this has taught me to make sure that whatever you work around when trying to transmit or share your ideas is consistent with what's happening in reality and also with what students are facing from their own experience. So that gives me the opportunity to advise and also receive that perspective that, of course, allows you to handcraft a better approach to today's problems and circumstances.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's you gave me a hook, and so you at OPIT you teach several subjects that are very much uh, in demand in a way, but sometimes have been overlooked in specifically in tech education. On the one hand, digital transformation management. Of course, we are living in the AI age, or at the dawn of the AI age, if you may say. And, helping businesses moving through this constantly changing environment must be a challenge in and of itself, both as a practitioner, but how do you help students navigate this space, and which are the tools that you try to give them or that we think are important for them to move towards this digital transformation? And if I may add a second part of this question, how in practice do you organize in a way your courses at OPIT? Are there case studies, interactive?
Sure. So, as you mentioned, I do teach multiple management and technology courses. Digital transformation management is one of them. Uh, I like to think about digital transformation management as an introductory digital economics course where students continue to understand and challenge, of course, the paradigms that lie within processes, people, and technology around data, and of course, strategy. If you will, digital transformation management introduces the new reality that companies are living, from how are they working out their digital strategy from a hands-on experience, how are they embracing technology and key management concepts around that, from learning how to capitalize network effects to enhancing the way they work around technology adoption, and of course also being very, very curious about how disruptive technologies, just to mention Gen AI or agentic AI, but also considering more traditional ones such as robotics process automation or even cloud, if you will, can help them boost their business. Um, my way of teaching and approaching this is very much hands-on. I love using and abusing, if you will, very various and vast resources, from consulting papers from top-notch MBB consultancies or Big Fours, McKinsey, Boston Consulting Group, Bain, of course, KPMG, EY, Deloitte, Accenture, you name it. Um, and use that not as a replacement, but as a supplement. Because when teaching digital transformation, you need to always consider and update every material, I would say, on a very fast pace. So there are textbooks or chapters around textbooks, but the foundational core is what goes on every day. And you can hopefully find that in this literature that is extremely available for everyone. From a dynamics perspective, my lectures try to engage students in a discussion where, again, we can all share our experience and, of course, our approach to a particular case study where we analyze how a company is doing and how can that company improve upon the challenges that they are living through. I also love to share videos that might span from specific ways in which companies are tackling a challenge, enhancing or going through a deep dive on a particular case or concept, or even just a TED talk that we can discuss in terms of what are the implications of these concepts. I also like to bring in some industry experts when I do have the chance. I do think that's a great opportunity for students to liaise and engage. And I do think that's one of the best things that, can happen when you lead a course, trying to bring, engage experience from your professional network to complement and enrich the experience that students have. And maybe aiming to your second question, I do think that the concepts, the skills, and the perspectives that we try to hone should be very dynamic, because at the end of the day, we don't want to train students to think in a rigid way. We just want to make our best to develop a growth mindset, meaning someone that can accept and embrace a challenge and find the best way to tweak it and adapt it to the circumstance their own companies or workplace is living. So at the end of the day, the concepts are instrumental and are part of their, big box of tools. They will be able to use them, tweaking them to the challenge that they should live. So whether if it's an agentic AI or an RPA implementation, or whether if it's uh, an organizational design challenge, or whether if it's a finance transformation process improvement initiative, they should be able to think in a flexible way, trying to understand how can they help a business, how can they use technology as an enabler, not as a substitute of human capabilities, and how should they work that perspective so that they can develop a differential approach, a different way of tackling what someone would think as something traditional. And that's a big challenge that we try to work through with students. And I would say that the best of the best in here is the fact that we have the capacity and the opportunity, together with the whole class, to think differently, because at some point in management, the sum of the different parts is definitely greater than the value that you get from it.
Right. Yeah. This is nice. I mean, I like how your last everything, but in particular your last concept. So one, let me add a curiosity of mine. So you have been dealing as a consultant with many different industries, and do you think so? No, let me rephrase. Is there a specific industry that is more resistant to digital transformation? And on the other hand, which industry was the one that was easiest or more eager to jump on the bandwagon here on the train?
That's a great question. So again, I've worked in multiple industries with different clients, and I should say that one of the greatest things of doing that is that you are always a junior when learning something new, even when landing on a different client and learning about their problems, their issues, their challenges. I do think that all industries are overcoming the challenge of digital transformation, whether if it's implementing a disruptive tech or adapting themselves to a new technology landscape dash environment, to trying to acquire and of course retain dash upskill their talent. Uh, I would say that from my experience, digital transformation and industry disruption is not about technology only. It's about developing the required mindset that will allow C-suite or any leadership to craft a compelling message for everyone to understand that this is not an option. And also, as part of that challenge, recent surveys from, big companies really discuss, will AI destroy more jobs that it will create? And part of that discussion relies on the fact that that will happen, correction, that is happening and has been happening for quite a while. And in that sense, every industry will suffer in a different way. Just to give you an example, financial services. We all think financial services as a very traditional industry, because if you go to a financial institution, you want to get a checking account, a saving account, borrow a loan, do an investment, you name it. Products, in my opinion, within the financial services industry are commodities, because you can get them with nuances in a lot of different banks or financial services institutions. The key differentiation here is, how do you transform an industry that is very traditional in a way that people, meaning customers, really enjoy, or let me put it this way, don't suffer when dealing with those realities. So again, today, for the past 10 years, we've found fintech and digital banks to embrace that reality in an amazing way. So if you see companies such as Nubank, Voila, uh, Open Bank from Banco Santander, and even the traditional banks that have been spinning off fintechs, they are really, really very savvy and knowledgeable around the fact that they have and they need to invest in making sure that customer experience is seamless. And that is not only depending on the product, that depends on the processes, that depends on the people behind those processes, that depends on the technology, and of course, how can you make their lives easier? So if you ask me, would you rather go to a bank and wait for 2 hours to open a checking account where you can perfectly open that in a couple of minutes, just in a couple of clicks through an app? That's part of digital transformation. It's part of a change of paradigm. So I need to reimagine my processes. I need to understand what technology or what technology stack is required to make sure that that experience delivers within great service level agreements. And I also need to understand how savvy should I reskill the workforce to make sure that they embrace that technology and that they feel that they will be having more time to add value to meaningful tasks, not just, doing back office data entry or activities that don't add value. So here's a good example of how technology has been disrupting a very traditional industry. And if you want to bring it to a different case, again, when you think about e-commerce or when you think about retail, see what Amazon has been doing in terms of technology. When we talk about warehouse automation processes, when we talk about leveraging and developing a network that will be capable of delivering your package in 1 or 2 days tops, or even at some point in hours. So that speaks about robustness in processes, people, and technology with a data-centric mindset. And that is what good strategies require in order to thrive. Again, being mindful around the interaction and synergy that processes, people, and technology need to create.